This is Sunday evening, the 19th of December, 2021. I'm Pastor Steve Altide at Park Street Christian Church in El Dorado Springs, Missouri. I want to briefly share tonight about Bethlehem in comparison to the area where my home church is located in rural Davis County, Iowa, in southeast Iowa, kind of the border between south central and southeast Iowa, just a few miles, very few miles north of the Missouri-Iowa border. In Grove Township is where I'm from originally. But my home church, the Stiles Christian Church, that's Stiles, Stiles Christian Church, has been the anchor for that little community ever since I can remember. Before I can recall, there was a blacksmith shop located on part of the ground where the church building and property rest today. But I don't remember the blacksmith shop being operational. There was a small grocery store, gas station. Lloyd White had a small country store there, and they pumped Sinclair gasoline, if my memory serves me correctly. There was a small feed store across the road from it, but Stiles, Iowa, is the intersection of two gravel roads. And again, the Stiles Christian Church has been really the only thing there for a number of years outside of just a very few homes. Bethlehem in the first century in Judea was not an impressive town. The estimated population was about 150 people. I don't know. It was long before my lifetime of Stiles, Iowa, ever had 150 people. But Bethlehem in the first century, there was no crossroads there, no mineral resources, no stately temple. Most of those who lived there were simple shepherds who tended to thousands of sheep in the fields nearby, sheep that were destined to be sacrifices in the temple. Bethlehem was noted for two things. First, it was known to be the birthplace of King David, and I wonder if there wasn't a sign outside of town that said, "Proud hometown of King David, Israel's greatest king." Second, Bethlehem was also known to be the place predicted to be where the coming Messiah, the son of David, was to be born. The prophet Micah had written in Micah 5:2, "But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come from me one who will be the ruler over Israel, whose origins are from of old, from ancient times." When the Messiah finally arrived on that first Christmas, the little town of Bethlehem became a busy area. Mary and Joseph traveled from Nazareth and discovered it was so crowded there was no room to stay in the local inn. Shepherds arrived to see the Christ child. A host of angels gathered nearby to stand guard while a handful of wise men traveled from the east to see the one born King of the Jews a few months after he was born. Soon after, King Herod was so threatened by the report of a new ruler that a regiment of soldiers stormed into the town of Bethlehem to search out for the baby Jesus and to kill him. The Son of God could not have entered this world in a more humble environment, yet his arrival in Bethlehem caused quite a stir. That tiny community just outside Jerusalem was a buzz of activity and was overcrowded for a few unusual days. The prophet Simeon warned in Luke 2, verse 34 and 35, "This child will cause the falling and rising of many in Israel, and the thoughts of many hearts will be revealed." If you'd been a news reporter covering the birth of the Messiah, you would have wondered how it could possibly be that such a small town, such unimpressive parents, such a tiny baby asleep in a manger of all places, could cause such busyness. How could anything significant come from such a humble beginning? But as Paul wrote decades later in 1 Corinthians 1:27 and 28, God chooses the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things and the things that are not, to nullify the things that are, so that no one may boast before him. The late theologian R.C. Sproul once wrote a Christmas devotional titled "Big King, Little King." Perhaps you've heard it, but it reads like this. Once upon a time, in the tiny land of Palestine, two kings were alive at the same time and at the same place. One of the kings was about 70 years old. The other king was an infant. The big king was evil. The little king was pure. The big king was rich and powerful. The little king was stricken with poverty. The big king lived in an opulent palace. The little king lived in a stable. The big king's name was Herod. He was called the Great. The little king was named Jesus. He was called Servant. The big king died and now is remembered as a little king. The little king grew up and became Jesus the greatest. He is now King of all kings and Lord of all lords. And as Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians 8:9, one of my favorite passages in all the Bible, for you know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor, so that you through his poverty might become rich. God bless you. Have an enjoyable week this week as we move closer to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, December 26th. 26th is our next Sunday here at Park Street Christian Church. But we look forward to Christmas Eve service here, 6 o'clock, 24th, Friday the 24th, and Christmas Day with some family. And Sunday the 26th of December as we wrap up our current study on Christmas lights. Have a great week.